What's up, guys? Happy Wednesday. Appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out. I'm going to answer start-sit questions, trade questions for you guys over the next hour and a half as we get ready for week 2 of fantasy football. We got a lot to talk about, especially with the Brock Purdy injury news, which just came out, I think, from Kyle Shanahan saying that he might miss a couple of weeks here. So Bryce is here. What's up, man? He says trade JCM and Ricky for BTJ. Yeah, I would be cool doing that for BTJ. I would like to buy him low right now. Fannin or Mark Andrews. That's pretty ugly heading into this week. I'll give Mark Andrews another shot. You can go with him this week. Brody said crazy news right now, but all I need is domain football in my life. That is right. Crazy news, and just here to talk football with you guys and answer any start-sitting trade questions you guys have. So love the day streams during work. Yeah, happy to happy to hang out with you guys. Pickens and Troy Franklin in a third for AJ Brown in a 7th. Is this a fair trade? I would much rather have AJ Brown there. Much rather have him there. Yeah, I think that's a really good opportunity for you to buy low on him if you can at the moment. Pollard or ETN this week, half PPR, rest of season also. I like ETN this week. I think I have him in the same tier, and then rest of season, I would give the upper hand to Travis Etienne. He's in a better offense. He's not efficient, but he's more efficient than Tony Pollard is with that workload, and it's looking like Etienne's going to get a majority of the opportunity there. So that is what I'm leaning. All right, guys, pinned in the comments and also dropping in the chat for you guys is the link to submit your start-sit questions. So if you want to do that, again, that's going to be the best way to do it. It's just pinned in the chat. I'll click on it here. I dropped it right there. So you just follow that link, and I will head over to stream mode here, and we'll get started with some of these trade questions over on the site. But doing that. Okay, here we go. So this is from Ant Vlogs. Trade or can O-line help Tracy be useful? So this is this is actually a Dynasty one. Honestly, I'll answer this one. I like DK here by far, for sure, hands down, not even a question. I'm absolutely taking DK Metcalf here, not even close. I think that the outlook for Travis or for Tyron Tracy is pretty up in the air, not just long term, but even potentially short term. I think Scatterboo is going to start to get integrated into this offense. Got a super message from, don't know how to pronounce that username, but Bozo dropped Jordan Mason how much fab of $100. Here's my thing with fab. Waivers is an opportunity for you to get a starting caliber guy that was obviously unexpected, to get someone that you know is going to be starting caliber for pretty much the rest of the season barring injury. Drop it all. I'm kind of exaggerating, kind of not. I would definitely drop well over half of your budget. I would be aggressive for a guy in a normal format. If this is like a 12-team start 8, if it's like a 10-team start 7, then it's like, okay, you don't have to be that crazy. But in like a 12-team start 8 standard formats for redraft leagues, I don't really know why you wouldn't just go ahead and, because again, the chances of you getting someone that's going to produce at the level of Jordan Mason, who was anywhere from a 7th to 9th round pick to start the year and is getting a lot of work right now on the ground, is something that I would definitely consider to be worth it. So hopefully that helps, man. I would definitely advise honestly probably 70% or more. All right, we got one from GVMCK99, Jared Goff and Devontae Adams for Justin Fields and Rashee Rice. I think the upside of Justin Fields is really nice, so I would give him the upper hand over Goff. And then if you can handle not having Rashee Rice for the next few weeks, I think he's going to be much more valuable than Adams when push comes to shove at the midpoint of the season and through the end of the season. I'll go ahead and call this a fair deal because Rashee is going to miss half of the regular season. But if you can take on that loss of a flexible asset like Devontae Adams, I'm cool with you making this move, especially with the upside of Justin Fields. So this is another deal involving Fields. This is Fields for Lawrence and Pollard. Let me look at your team just to make sure. You have Nix and Caleb Williams, and at running back, it looks like you need a lot of help here. You have CMC, and then you have Krosky, Merritt. Harvey and Sampson as third options is fine, but could be better. Oh, you have Bijan. Whoops, I missed that. Whoops. So you have Bijan and CMC and Krosky, Merritt, and Mason. And then you have Odunze. This is a start 9. BTJ, Odunze, Sutton, DK. I'm not going to lie, dude. You don't need a running back with the current room that you have. Can you go try to get somebody else low? This guy, I don't know if he'll be willing to move off of, like, I would look for Tyreek Hill here, but you probably won't be able to pull that off. I'll call this a fair deal because you are getting, again, you will have leverage with a bell cow running back, and you could potentially even flip that for a wide receiver after this move. So I'm okay with it in terms of the value return that you're getting. Javonte Williams for Rashee Rice. Again, going to be kind of situationally dependent, but I think my mind's pretty set on just take the league-winning shot with Rashee Rice if you can afford it. This is a start 7, so you would be starting Caleb Williams, Achane, Henderson, Neighbors, Igbuka, Devonta Smith, and McBride. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. You can make it. I'll take Rashee Rice there. I am good with that. Again, appreciate you guys hopping in and hanging out for a bit. I'm here to help you answer all of your start, sit, and trade questions for the next hour and a half. So please feel free to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And again, I just dropped the link that you can go to get those start, sit questions answered. So someone dropped Mark Andrews in my league. LOL. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I don't think that's the craziest thing. Mark Andrews is, I mean, he's not producing. And I mean, you saw this last season. He had a nice run at the end of the year, but there are a lot of touchdowns. This is literally Mark Andrews' touchdown or bust. So while I would not recommend dropping Mark Andrews, I don't think that's like the craziest thing of all time, because I mean, there are guys on the waivers who are just more consistently productive than Andrews was all season last year. Case in point, Zach Ertz. Ridley or Myers. I'm going to give the upper hand to Myers this week. It's looking like that offense is a little bit better at the moment while Tennessee kind of figures it out. And then also, I mean, Myers has just been more productive as a number 1. So with Kittle hurt, I picked up Fannin for $1. I think he's going to be good. I think Fannin for $1 is awesome. I am totally good with you making that deal. Would you drop Mason for Quinshon Judkins? I don't think I would drop Mason for Judkins, no, but I would. Is that your only drop option? It also kind of depends on the format, but I'm leaning no so far. I leaning no as in I wouldn't drop Mason for Judkins. I want to go get Judkins, but can you drop someone else? Olave or Swift. I'm going to go with 13 target. Actually, let me look at the matchups here. We just did our rankings, and I'm getting used to the matchups that we have this week. And the Saints have the Niners, the Brock Purdy-less Niners, and the Bears will be taking on the Lions. Oh boy. That's going to be a very interesting matchup, the Bears and the Lions. All right, I'm going to favor the running back here. Swift got 17 touches. He's the bell cow there in Chicago. I'm going to favor the running back. All right, we got a couple trade questions here from Sloth. Again, guys, feel free to drop your trade questions in the chat or submit a start sit here, and I'll be happy to get to them for you. This is a start sit from Opticlone. Opticlone, looking at your running back room, you've got Chubb, Mixon, and Tootin. You have Dobbins and Bijan, which are your top 2 starts, which I agree with. I would rather start Dobbins than Nick Chubb. Wide receivers looking really solid here. Fannin or Ferguson? That is a great question. Let's, again, look at the matchups here and see while I pull up my rankings as well. But Cleveland obviously had a productive week in terms of the assets that were in that offense. It was an ugly outing against Cincinnati. They only scored like 16 points. Could have scored more if their kicker actually was doing what he's supposed to do. But they do go up against Baltimore this week, which I think will be a much tougher matchup. And then you have the Cowboys taking on the Giants. I would be conservative with Fannin. I'm really encouraged about his usage. But given the matchup and how friendly it is, Ferguson had like 6 or 7 targets last week in week 1 in a much tougher matchup against Philadelphia. I'm going to go with the veteran this week at tight end, and then looking to flex pretty much Olave here, no question. Hollywood Brown is actually really tempting, but I would like to see what that playbook looks like for the Chiefs without Xavier Worthy. Are they going to try to be a little more run-centric this week against Philly? Will they try to pass the ball more? Will Worthy actually play or will he not? So I think I'm going to go with Olave here. He had 13 targets in week 1. I got to start sit from Tegan TM. Looking at running back, we've got Charbonnet, Swift, Sampson, and Tracy. I'm going to go with Swift over those guys. And then tight end, it's between Kincaid and Fannin. Again, give me... Kincaid had like half the targets that Fannin had week 1, but he had a touchdown. They're taking on the Jets. That is disgusting. That one I will go Fannin. And then flexing... Devonta Smith, Pickens, or Tracy, basically. I'm going to go Devonta Smith. I think he's going to have a bounce-back week, and I am going to go George Pickens as well. I think he's going to have a bounce-back week. Someone offered me B-Rob. This is from Xerxes. Someone offered me B-Rob for Trey. Do I take it? Brian Robinson for Trey Benson? No. I'm taking Trey Benson there. With both Igbuka and Collins playing on Monday night, should I start them both? I mean, yeah, I would be happy starting both of them. Again, they're not on the same team, so I don't think them playing each other is going to impact the other's production necessarily. Regardless of what side, should I drop Braylon Allen or Caleb Johnson? I would probably, I have a really tough time. Again, I'm biased because of the Flock League. I own Caleb Johnson in the Flock League. I would hold on to I would probably hold on to Caleb Johnson until we start to see him get work in that offense. Coop says, should I trade Tyreek Hill? Okay. No, I again, that's kind of like a blanket question. So I'm going to give you a blanket answer. I would say in general, no, I would not be trading away Tyreek Hill necessarily right now. I would wait until a bigger, more productive game. And then I would consider potentially offloading him depending on how bad that offense really is going to project out to be. Trade away Hampton and Henderson for Genty and ETN. 10-team, half PPR double flex. Half PPR does make a little bit of a difference here because the receiving upside that Henderson is going to offer is not as much of a premium. So Genty and Hampton, honestly, you could view really in the same tier. And then you've got Henderson versus ETN, which are going to be pretty close. I don't know. My gut says Hampton and Henderson. My gut says we're going to regret trading away Henderson right now before he starts getting the majority of the workload there. We just have like 2 running backs going opposite directions in theory. You have Henderson, whose usage will only go up, and you have ETN, whose usage will either remain the same or it could go down if they want to get Tootin more involved. I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying it could. Trey Benson or Brian Robinson. Yeah. You asked it earlier. I would go Trey Benson. Nathan going 2-0 in the Flock League. I would love to. I got to talk some crap to Bush this week. He's my rival this week. So started the first 2 weeks with our rival matchups. Obviously, cross channel is biggest rivalry, and then next one is definitely. I mean, this is the this quite literally is the toilet bowl. Is between Bush and I. So you guys will get to see a couple of our teams revamped, reimagined. Hopefully we're not in the toilet bowl again. Actually, Bush, he's welcome to go back to the toilet bowl. I just don't want to go back. So it would be very, very nice if I was able to take him down and have a 2-0 start here. What's up, Sonny? Appreciate you coming in, man. He said, do I get anything else for being an annual member besides the free blueprint and vouchers for questions and trades? Thought I could get an infinite blueprint for one of my league. Yes, sir. The infinite blueprint is automatically applied to your blueprint voucher that you submit. So once that's submitted, we'll send you the link to get registered for the infinite blueprint program, and we'll get that ready for you. So yeah, no problem, Xerxes. Happy to help you. Sonny, if you have any questions, please feel free to send me a DM on Discord, and I'll be happy to help you out. Again, guys, feel free to submit your start, sit, or trade questions following this link that I just dropped in the comments. It is also it's also pinned in the comments as well above. So if this comment gets buried, which it will, I'll keep dropping it in here. But you can always just follow the pinned comment and follow that link to get your start, sit questions answered. So Peter dropped one in. Appreciate you, man. He looking at your lineup, you got Hurts at QB. I love it. Running back is Bucky and James Conner. Wide receiver is Nico and Amon-Ra. And then tight ends, you got no choice but to start Goddard. That's your guy, which is not, honestly, it's not that bad. Okay, so basically we're looking between Pacheco, McMillan, Diggs, and Hunter. I'm not starting Diggs. I'm not starting Pacheco. And then between Hunter or McMillan, I would go with the guy that has less competition in the short term, which would be Tet McMillan. So we'll go with Tet this week. He had like 9 targets in his first game as a rookie, and again, the production wasn't like anything insane, but honestly, the floor was not too bad. He had 12 points on 9 targets, 5 receptions, 68 yards, no touchdowns. You throw a touchdown into there, he's one of the biggest pieces of news when you're talking about rookie prospects of the week. So I feel pretty comfortable flexing Tet. This week they are going up against Arizona, which I think is a pretty friendly matchup for them. Arizona doesn't have the most talented defensive back core. So hopefully that helps, man. That's honestly, that's an ideal issue to have every single week. Diggs, Pacheco, Hunter, Tet. That's a lot of nice, viable flex options that you're considering starting, and I think you've put yourself in a pretty good shape. Honestly, you could consider making it up tier and moving one of those guys for a better tight end. Chat, is Shakir droppable right now? No, Shakir is not droppable right now. Again, it depends on format. If you're in a 10-team start 7 or an 8-team start 8 or something like that, then you're obviously having that conversation. But if you're in a standard format, no, I would not plan on dropping Shakir. Sonny said, on a bright side, I did beat the team that I traded Jettas away to, so that makes me feel good. Well, there you go. Should I start Sutton or Jacoby Myers in my flex? I would go ahead and give the nod to Cortland Sutton this week going up against the Colts. I like both Myers and Sutton. I do think Sutton's upside is a little bit higher. I traded Amon-Ra for Collins. Is that good? I think that's a neutral move. I have no issue with that. You've got the safety in Amon-Ra. You have the upside in Nico Collins. And honestly, if that offense in Detroit is not going to figure it out in the near future, you're going to see Amon-Ra lose quite a bit of value. So I do like the upside shot there with Nico. Is it crazy to start Fannin over Hawkinson this week? I don't think it's crazy. I don't think I'm not going to be recommending it like crazy until we see it for 1 or 2 more weeks with Fannin. Again, this is one where that scheme is very interesting, the way that they utilize Fannin, and that he wasn't really playing a traditional tight end role. So Njoku was on the field while Fannin was on the field. They were both running routes, and it was great. Again, for a guy like Fannin, though, when the situation is so bad in Cleveland, it just makes you want to pump the brakes a little bit and just see a little bit more what it's going to look like. Whereas Hawkinson had a disappointing week 1 for sure. And the volume isn't quite there for him. He only had 4 targets, 3 receptions, 15 yards. He was essentially a non-factor. But again, this is one where I don't blame you if you want to start Fannin over TJ Hawkinson. I'm not going to die on that hill of like, yeah, you got to start Fannin over Hawkinson. Like Hawkinson, I would almost say is the safer option just in terms of the situation that they're in right now. And they do have a friendlier matchup going up against the Vikings. So I think that's expected to be a pretty high-scoring game. Keon, Odunze, or Mason in the flex. I would go with Rome Odunze if I were you. Keon Coleman, similar to Fannin. I just want to see it for a couple more weeks. And then Jordan Mason is splitting a backfield with Aaron Jones. So if you can help it, avoid starting Mason, go ahead and go for a number 1 receiver like Odunze in his respective offense. Debating starting Dylan Sampson over Tyreek. LOL. Yeah, that's funny. I would also not recommend that. I would give Tyreek another chance this week. He's still getting plenty of volume. Glad the Colts got a win for you and Avery. The Seahawks lost to an injured 49ers. Yeah, that's a bummer. I apologize for that. That is unfortunate as a Seahawks fan. You guys had it. Honestly, I felt like you guys were going to have it. Sorry, I have to get my charger. Come on, charge. There we go. All right, we got some more trade questions, start sit questions from the peeps. This is a redraft trade question from Brett Baker 55, Jahmyr Gibbs and JSN for Hampton and Jamar Chase. In a vacuum, do I prefer Chase over Gibbs? Yes. In a vacuum, do I prefer JSN over Hampton or Hampton over JSN? I think that's more of a wash. Here's the thing for me. Do I think JSN can get close to Jamar Chase's production at wide receiver? No. Do I think Gibbs can get close to, do I think Hampton can get close to Jahmyr Gibbs's production this season? I think it's very possible. So I'm taking the best player in the deal here, and I'm going to take Chase. And given the upside potential that Hampton has at running back, I think it's worth giving up a guy like Gibbs to get Chase. So, what's up, BL Sports? Appreciate you hopping in the stream, man. We got to start sit from Go Bears 99. Okay, so you got Daniels, Kyron, and Jacobs. And then looking at wide receiver, you got BCJ as your number 1. Then you're deciding between Igbuka, Pearsall, and Pickens, and Metcalf, and Sutton. Oh my gosh. Pickens as a 2. Pearsall has Purdy hurt, which makes me a little more worried. I'm definitely going Sutton here. I think where it gets hairy is the flex. Juwan Johnson or Hunter Henry. We'll go with Hunter Henry this week. Javonte, Pickens, Igbuka, Pearsall, or Metcalf. Golly. That is just, you have a phenomenal team, first off. We've got the Bucks taking on Houston, which is a tougher matchup. We've got Pickens as a number 2. He's essentially, when we're considering all the other guys, I would not give the nod to the number 2 receiver over all these guys who could be number 1s. Pearsall has no Purdy, so I think that would give Igbuka the edge over him and DK the edge over Pearsall. Steelers have Seattle. It's probably going to be between Javonte and Igbuka for me. I'm going to go ahead and take Igbuka here. I'm going to go with the guy that produced week 1. That's a tough dilemma, man. I can't lie. That's really tough. That is very, very difficult. This is from Psychology and other start sits. Looking at week 2 for your team. Baker, I love it. Dobbins and Genty, I think is fine. Wide receiver, you've got Ibuka, and then debating between Hollywood and Keenan Allen, essentially. Maybe Tillman. I would go Hollywood over any of those guys. And then you're flexing Puka Nacua, and then deciding between Jones and Keenan Allen. I'll go Aaron Jones here. I'll give the nod to the running back. I think Keenan Allen had a really nice first week for the Chargers, but I do think like their game plan is kind of up in the air from here on out. I would like to see what that volume is going to look like consistently week in and week out instead. So Avery's in the stream. He says, "What's up? Good luck this week." Thanks, man. Thanks. Good luck to you as well. Avery, you're playing Mason this week, aren't you? I'm pretty sure Avery's got Mason this week. David Elliott's also here. What's up, man? Here to celebrate my birthday. It is not my birthday, but I appreciate it. Yeah, it's not my birthday. Thanks. It's I'll let you know when it is my birthday, though. We got from That Guy Lang, another start sits. Looking at QB, you got Josh Allen, love it. Bijan and Saquon, love it. Puka, JJ, good gosh. Tight end, Fannin or Laporta, 100% going Laporta. Flex, Bucky, Krosky, Merritt, Harvey, Garrett Wilson, Sutton. It's basically Bucky, Garrett Wilson, or Sutton. Garrett Wilson is going up against the Bills this week. Bucky is the running back going against Houston. I don't think I can bet against, again, plugging a running back into my flex. When I have a say, when I've got guys in the same tier and I have a say, I will always give precedence to the bell cow running back over a wide receiver. They just have a higher floor. So we're going to go with Bucky Irvin this week in your flex. Wait, it's Avery's birthday? Yeah, it is Avery's birthday. Yep, that's right. Thanks, Vitch. It is not my birthday, but I appreciate the well wishes. Again, guys, if you want to get your start sit or trade questions in, feel free to follow this link right here that I just dropped in the comments. It's also pinned in the chat for you guys as well. And I'll keep dropping the link in here for you in case you're missing it. All right, this is from Jay, trying to figure out if he wants to start Daniels or Fields. I'll just take the better rushing upside QB in Jaden Daniels. He's just a better QB, so that's nice that you have both of those, because if Daniels ever goes down or you have to deal with a bye week or something like that, you can totally go with Fields and you feel great about it. But definitely giving the upper hand to Daniels there. Running back, you got CMC. Love it. Running back 2, trying to figure out who between Pacheco, Krosky, Merritt, and Sampson. This one I will go Krosky, Merritt. None of them are really pretty, but I think Krosky, Merritt will get the job done this week. They're all splitting backfield. Sampson splitting a backfield. Pacheco splitting a backfield. Krosky, Merritt was the one that was actually pretty productive on the ground. Sampson's getting receiving work, which is really interesting. But again, that's something where it's like, is he really going to get 8 targets again? I don't know if that'll happen. So Nico and AJ Brown at wide receiver. I love it. Tight end, you got Kelsey. And then flexing Garrett Wilson over George Pickens. Yes, I agree. So the rest of this looks really solid, man. I think definitely the main question here was running back, and I think we feel most comfortable with JCM. Appreciate you, man. All right. So we've got a couple of team reviews here that I am going to get working on, a couple of whiteboards. If you guys want to get a team review, again, feel free to just follow that link that I've been dropping in the comments. It's also pinned in the chat. You can get a team review for your fantasy team, and we're happy to look over that for you. Again, only have space for probably a few today, but we're streaming all the time, so we'll be doing live team reviews all the time for you guys. 8 crazy nights. Joe Burrow or Daniel Jones or Geno Smith. I'm going to go with Joe Burrow, best player. Other QB, Geno or Daniel Jones. I'm not going to bet on Daniel Jones getting 2 rushing touchdowns again this week. I'm going to go with Geno. He had a really, really good week in week 1. I think I would expect that to continue to go on. Running back, we're looking at Warren, Pacheco, Monty Eckler, Caleb Johnson, Dylan Sampson. Monty for sure. And then Avery and I were just talking about this today. Do we prefer Warren or Pacheco? We are literally like neck and neck with Warren and Pacheco. Avery likes Pacheco. I like Warren. Pacheco's got a matchup against Philadelphia, which Jalen Carter's going to be back, and he's really good against the run. And you have Jalen Warren, who's splitting a backfield with Kenneth Gainwell, and who knows when Caleb Johnson's going to be implemented into that offense, and he's going up against Seattle. So I'm going to say Jalen Warren. That's what my gut's telling me this week. Wide receiver, you have Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. I love that. And then at tight end, it's Loveland, Njoku, or Okonkwo. Got to go with Njoku. Loveland's not startable. Holy crap, you have Jeff, Lamb, and Jamar Chase. This is a dynasty league. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. I can't believe you're able to pull that off, honestly. And then, okay, here, now we get into the flex, and this is where we're like, okay. 2 flex options. It's basically between Pacheco, Eckler, and Coleman. Let's go with Coleman, and let's go with Pacheco. Yeah, you're going to win with those 3 wide receivers. That's nuts. Eckler is interesting because, again, he got plenty of usage last week, and he looked solid. But I do think his snap share is going to be limited consistently, 47% snap share. He didn't do anything super pretty, only 8.7 points. It's like at that point, you may as well just take the shot on Isaiah Pacheco because you kind of know exactly what Eckler is going to get you. Should I drop Caleb Johnson for Fannin? I would not be dropping Caleb Johnson right now. If I were you, I would try to avoid that for as long as possible. Anybody else that you could drop for Harold Fannin? That's what I would like to know. I don't like Pacheco this week, but if KC goes 0-2, I think they run Pacheco into the ground as usual. He looks good physically in preseason. Yeah, that's not a bad take, man. I think that's very possible. If their answer to success is just to run the crap out of the ball, then I think their best option in that backfield is going to be Isaiah Pacheco. And desperate times, desperate measures if they end up starting 0-2. Again, guys, feel free to drop your start-sit questions in the chat or follow this link, jump the line, and submit via the site. Start-sit questions, trade questions. I will cover all of them for you guys over the next hour. And speaking of, we got a start-sit from Psychality. Should I drop one of my flex options for Boutte? Tillman would be one guy that I would consider. It's basically, do you prefer Tillman or do you prefer Kayshon Boutte? Someone else will pick up Tillman if you end up going with Boutte. Here's the thing. JSN, Puka, Ikbuka, and then you have Hollywood and Keenan Allen and Cedric Tillman. Like, that's not bad, man. That's not a bad wide receiver room. I don't think I would go crazy on Boutte. Boutte went for $21 in the Flock League. So that's kind of his value. If you value any of these guys less than like what 20% of your fab would be to get a guy like Kayshon Boutte, then I would say go ahead and do that. And those candidates would be Tillman and maybe Benson or Keenan Allen, but I don't think I'd be dropping either of those guys right now. Benson is too good of an insurance play. Keenan Allen is coming off a 13-target game, and Tillman had a productive week as well. So Tillman would be the guy I would look to drop. And who are you flexing this week? Between Hollywood and Aaron Jones, I will go ahead and start Hollywood. He's going to be a pretty solid start, I think, for the next few weeks until Rashee Rice comes back. Hopefully that helps, man. We got to start sit from to 2. Looking at QB, we got Mahomes. Running back, we have Achane and then Dylan Sampson. Not much depth there, so have to start Sampson. It's better depth than I have in the Flock League. Wide receiver, we got Neighbors and Higgins. Love it. Waiting for Rice to come back. And you're flexing Harold Fannin versus David Njoku. Oh boy. If you wanna do that, that's fine. I'm not gonna push back against it too much. Because again, they got the same amount of usage. So that's fine with me. Flexing Tyreek Hill or George Pickens, I'm with you here. I would flex Tyreek Hill over Pickens. It's a 1 versus a 2. All right, Jackson B13. Looking at your roster, we got Daniels, Chase Brown, Bijan, Marv, Puka, Tet, Bowers. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. This looks really, really good. 10-team, 1 QB start, 9. Flexing Romo Dunze, and then your choice of Harvey, honestly, Boutte, and then would have been Kittle, but Kittle's down right now. It's between Boutte and Harvey, honestly. Let's look at Harvey's snap share. RJ Harvey week 1 only had 29% snap share, and his day was salvaged by a 50-yard run that he had towards the end of the game. He is playing the Colts this week, which is not too shabby of a matchup at all. But I think you got to go with the guy who had over 100 receiving yards week 1. I'll go with Keyshawn Boutte. Sonny said if I submit a trade question right now, would you be able to answer it? I'm using a voucher. Yes, sir. If you submit a trade question, I'm happy to answer it for you. Did I miss the Fannin talk? Yeah, we've been talking about Fannin in passing here. We on and off. We've been talking about Fannin. He's been involved in a lot of start sit questions. Yeah, don't we all, Chris? Don't we all? We all miss him. Also, these comments are like going off the page, so I need to like fix that like right now. There we go. It is fixed now. Boom. Sorry about that. All right, guys, if you want to get your start, sit, and trade questions answered, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I'll try to get to them. And if you want to jump the line, then you can follow that link that I just dropped in the comments. It's also pinned in the comments as well. Angel said, my favorite bug. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks, man. I'll never live that down, I guess. I guess I'm just always a young bug. Mr. Nice Guy, Nathan said Devontae over Igbukah last week, and I gave him so many reasons why not. Yeah, there you go, Captain Moistbeard. That's victory lap all day. You are welcome to do that, and deservedly so. That ended up absolutely being the call. Tough to predict what those rookies are going to do week 1. Tough to predict that Devonta Smith wasn't going to do jack against Dallas, but that's the way it goes. Those types of games happen with Devonta Smith, and I remember talking about in that stream. I was like, I'm doing all these Devonta Smith starts, like I'm gonna eat my words, and I did, and it worked out for me because I was playing Devonta Smith in the Flock League and scored 4 points, so it was nice for me. I wanted to be wrong. All right, so we got a team review from Cheddar's 44 here, and let's look into this. It says, I drafted the best in this league. Why did I get crapped on? So Cheddar's team name is Jared4421. It does look like you're number 1 in terms of the power rankings here. Kyler Murray, JT, Hampton, Henderson, Mason, Jefferson, BTJ, Igbukah, Worthy, Keon, and Evan Ingram. This is a 12-team start, 8 PPR. What the heck are Downs and Mooney doing on waivers? Holy crap. Okay, so I'm just going to jump right to the final verdict here for your team and say Do everything you possibly can to get Downs and Mooney off of waivers. If you have to clear your budget to get both of those guys off your waivers, it is worth it. Those guys in a 12-team start 8 have no business. This is a PPR, 12-team start 8 PPR. Downs and Mooney have no business being on waivers. Hands down, by far, the most valuable waiver pickups that you'll be able to get pretty much all season, because there's not going to be a Puka unless it's Keishon Butte. But that was kind of a joke. Yeah, no, go get Downs and Mooney off waivers. Those will be your top 2 waiver priorities, by the way, which I'm going to add on your whiteboard when we get that sent to you. And I think your third waiver priority will definitely be Fannin, since Evan Ingram is banged up. Okay, so let's do some positional grades now. Kyler Murray, I'm going to give you a 5. He's kind of a neutral guy. He doesn't lose you weeks, but he doesn't win you as many weeks as you want to. So I'm just going to go with a 5 there for a guy that has a lot of rushing upside, or should have a lot of rushing upside. JT, Hampton, Henderson, and Mason, I'm going to give you an 8 there. Jefferson, BTJ, Igbuka, Worthy, Keon, Hollywood, and Dante Thornton I'm giving you a 10 there. You got a massive dub with Igbuka. And then Evan Ingram, I will go ahead and give you a 4. He's a little banged up right now. We'll see if he ends up missing any time. Mr. Nice Guy said, Mooney for sure. I don't know about Downs, though. He's a great talent, but Warren taking over his workspace, IMO. Yeah, he definitely could be. That's definitely a possibility. But again, even with that being the case, there's no reason that Downs should be on waivers. Like that should be a crime in a 12-team start 8. So you're right. That's why Mooney would be my number 1 priority, but still got to get Downs. Still got to get both of those guys if you can help it. So in terms of power rankings, you lost 108 to 152 in your league in week 1, which is highly, highly unfortunate. You just had a low-scoring week. One of the low-scoring weeks in your league, actually. And that's because BTJ was slow. JT didn't have a touchdown. Hampton started slow. Henderson started slow. Worthy got hurt. You definitely didn't start Keon Coleman. You may not have started Igbuka, actually. So, yeah, no, I totally understand why you lost in week 1, and I don't think that's not going to happen every single week. I would not be panicking just because you lost week 1. These guys are going to all get to their expected form. They're going to be totally fine. So you're going to be totally fine. As far as moves are concerned for this team, I do think our top priority is going to be probably raising the upside of your wide receiver room even more. I gave you a really nice grade there, and you still have some really solid depth. That's going to be tough to get integrated into your starting lineup. So at that point in a start 8, you may as well just make a couple of up-tier moves here. First thing that I would do is I would take, honestly at this point, Xavier Worthy with the injury, his ceiling might be a little bit capped if he's going to be playing with a brace for the rest of the season. So if I go to my rankings here, and looking at where Xavier Worthy is currently being ranked, there are a couple guys in that range that I would prefer over him if you can pull it off. See if you can buy Devonta Smith low. And again, you're not going to be able to move Xavier Worthy, who's injured, for a guy that just produces a super high level week 1. But I would go look at Devonta Smith and try to buy him low. And I would also look at Chris Olave and try to buy him low as well. I would just add as a comment for your team too, like, you feel free to package some of this depth in up tier because it's not going to see your starting lineup. Another move that I would consider here is any chance we could take like Coleman and Hollywood Brown in up tier. That's also something I would look into. And that one, I would go for Flowers or Odunze as an option. Again, these are types of up tiers that you can afford that I think are definitely doable for your team. And let's take Jordan Mason. Let's just pivot off of Jordan Mason. He's splitting a backfield with Aaron Jones, which really just caps his ceiling for the rest of the year. So I really would prefer taking a shot on someone else in that range who has higher upside long term, like a DeAndre Swift. If you can go get DeAndre Swift, I would recommend that. You can also, honestly, like, as much risk as I think Tyron Tracy offers, I would rather have Tyron Tracy than Jordan Mason. And again, as far as your 4 factors are concerned, I think your upside here is going to be very, very high, given that you have JT, Hampton, Henderson, BTJ, Buka, Worthy, and J. Jeff. Like, I'm going to give you a 9 out of 10 in terms of upside. I think your floor, I mean, you saw what your floor was in week 1, right? So your floor score is going to be a little bit lower. It's going to be probably like a 4 out of 10 any given week, maybe a 4 or 5. And then reliability. That's again, in terms of durability, are these guys going to stay healthy historically? I'll give you a neutral grade there as well. I'll give you like a 6. And then depth, you have a lot of depth. I'll give you an 8 with your depth score. You have a lot of solid, viable bench options, which again is why I'm recommending that you make a couple of these up tiers. But those waiver priorities, again, Downs, Mooney, and Fannin, please go get Downs and Mooney. Mooney and Downs, actually. I would prioritize Mooney and then probably Downs after that. Alex had just submitted a trade question. Nathan, really need help deciding between 2 trades. Awesome, man. I am going to get to those right about now, after I refresh and make a note that I did Cheddar's team review. Cheddars, if you're on the stream, we will get this to you, the finished whiteboard. We'll get it to you as soon as we can, probably in the next day or so. And appreciate you submitting this. Okay, next question. Mark that one complete. All right. And again, guys, if you want to get your team reviewed, feel free to just drop that in the chat, and I will try to get to it for you guys. Or if you want to jump the line, then submit a trade question or start sit question as well, and I will be getting those for you as well. They are pinned in the comments. The link is to submit a start sit or trade question. Boom, right there. Okay. Alvarez, 93. Caleb Johnson for Fannin. I have Ingram and Strange. If you have Ingram and Strange, I don't think you really... I don't think you need to make that deal. That's just like too many tight ends on the roster. Again, once we get to a point where you have like 3 tight ends on your fantasy roster, you really should be up-tiering, or you should be reinvesting that value in just... the ones at running back and wide receiver, where you really want to be flexing those guys ideally. Let's hold for one more week. Since you have Ingram and Strange, again, Ingram's banged up. I need to look up the injury report for Ingram, honestly, because he's questionable, hauls in 3 passes in week 1, leaves with a calf injury and has not returned. So his status is up in the air right now. Again, right, that just doesn't sit super well with me at the moment. And look, if here's my thing. If Evan Ingram ends up being announced to be out and going to miss more time than expected, then it gets very interesting, because then it's like, okay, you actually do have a need at tight end. I'm kind of going more for need here, and I would like to see the context of your team. But if you need upside shots at running back, I would stick with the long-term upside shot that Caleb Johnson might be later in the season. But if you end up needing it because Ingram misses a significant amount of time, then I'm fine with you going with Fannin. So I don't want to move a guy that has a good shot at moving up the depth chart pretty quickly for someone that had a really nice week 1, but we just don't know what it's going to look like consistently week in and week out yet. John once said, yo, finally able to catch a live stream. Thinking about getting an annual pass, but just wondering, can you do team reviews from ESPN? Absolutely, we can. Yep. Well, we do ESPN team reviews all the time, John. So just make sure you use code DOMAIN. You can submit that voucher, and we'll be happy to do it for you. All right. So this is from Mario Mon. At QB, we've got Jalen Hurts. Running back, we have JT. Your running back 2 spot is going to be Eckler, Aaron Jones, or Tracy. Let's go with Tracy this week. CeeDee Lamb and Drake London are your top 2 wide receivers, which is awesome. And then your tight end is Brock Bowers. So really just trying to figure out who you want to put in your running back 2 slot, and I would go with Tracy this week going up against the Dallas Cowboys. Aaron Jones, not a bad start either, but again, he's splitting the backfield quite literally 50-50 with Jordan Mason. He's essentially just a receiving back, and then Tyron Tracy has Cam Scatterboot breathing down his neck, but he is getting a majority of the work still right now. All right, 8 crazy nights. Purdy and Mahomes at QB. Solid. Actually, Purdy might not be starting this week, so you'll actually have to start Joe Flacco if Purdy doesn't go, which you know that. So if Purdy is a surprise start this week, then we'll go ahead and ride with him, but be prepared. You may have to start Flacco. We got Achane and James Conner at running back. Solid. Puka and Igbuka at wide receiver. Looking good. Trey McBride at tight end. So trying to figure out who to flex alongside Travis Etienne. Swift, Kroski, Merritt, Worthy, Downs. So we'll definitely go Swift because he's a bell cow. Etienne, your other bell cow. And then it's between Kroski, Merritt, and Josh Downs. And Worthy. If Worthy starts, you got to start Worthy. And if Worthy ends up not starting, I think my second choice, given the matchups this week, that makes it tough because Kroski Merritt actually plays tomorrow, and you won't hear the announcement about whether Worthy's going to play or not until Sunday. So here's the thing. Take the gamble on Worthy, see if he is able to play healthy, and then wait for that game time decision announcement to come out. They play at 4:25, which is around the same time the Colts play at 4:05. So you'll just have to be on top of your lineup. And if it's announced that Worthy will not be playing, then you'll go ahead and just start Downs instead. Judkins expected to practice tomorrow. Buy low if you can. He's probably not startable for a few weeks, but he'll be a 3-down workhorse this season. Crossing my fingers, man. Really, really hoping that's going to be the case. Really hoping that's going to be the case. So this is I'll answer the Dynasty trade questions here. Alex says Lamar for a first Kyler and London. That's not a bad return right there, man. That's not a bad return at all. Looking at your team, this is a 12-team super flex. You have May and Daniel Jones. Running back, you have Achane, and that's it. And then you have Devonta Smith, Rashee Rice, Ayuk, Burden, McMillan, Olave, and Njoku. Yeah, I'm fine with that down tier, dude. I would call that fair. Alex said, Nathan, would you do this or the one above this? The one above this. The one above. A deal when I get Goff, Higgins, and a full draft class for 26 and 27 for Lamar from Guy with Josh Allen. I would just take the best players, the better players. I would take Kyler and London there. The more premium players I can get as opposed to just picks is going to be better, in my opinion, when you're dealing when you're dealing premium players like Lamar. Fan and legit, he's a joker. Everyone thought Ingram was going to be very possible. I'm very excited to see what Fannon's able to pull off this season. If he can keep this going, then he's going to be a must start every single week. All right, let's answer Sloth's trade question: Garrett Wilson and Higgins, or Malik Neighbors. This is in a dynasty as well. I'm gonna go with, good gosh, you would have Puka, JSN. You're up tiering here. Oh gosh, this is very tempting. Can you get like literally anything back? Try to get Judkins back, and then I'm totally doing it. That's what I would do if I were you, Sloth. I don't mind the deal as it stands. I would try to get a little bit more. First of his name, we got Cam Ward and Lam McConkey, another Dynasty 4 BTJ. This is also kind of selling Cam Ward low right now. This is one where I would probably hold. Yeah, this is one where I would hold. I would hold Ward and McConkey, wait for Cam Ward to get that value bump up when he starts producing. Don't sell him when he just came off of a 2-point game. And then Sonny says early mid first and Chase Brown for Jahmyr Gibbs. Easily taking Jahmyr Gibbs here, not even a question. Take the best player. 100%. Okay, so this is another start sit for Psychology. Should I try to trade Nico or Neighbors plus Genty or Jacobs for a Henry Barkley or another top running back? Nico or Neighbors plus Genty for Henry or Barkley? Absolutely not. Oh, this is a 6-team. This is a 6-team PPR. Okay, that does change things a little bit. Number one, Fields, your number one starter. Gotta go with rushing upside. Everything's about upside in a league like this. Everything's about upside. So Jacobs and Bijan with Fields. You have Neighbors and Nico. Laporta versus Warren. Let's go with the upside of Warren. So here's what I would do. I would take Warren and Laporta, and I would package those guys and go freaking get Bowers or something. Or you could just take Laporta, stick with Warren, and move Laporta with another receiver and go get an upgrade at receiver or running back. I'm kind of with you, man. I think that the name of the game is definitely getting elite running backs in a 6-team start 7 if you really want to win your league. Now, would I package Nico or Neighbors plus Genty or Jacobs for Henry or Barkley? That's still too much for me even in a 6-team. It would have to be more something. They would have to be like Jacobs plus JSN in a 6-team, or like Egbuka plus Jacobs to get like up to Henry. And I would be more comfortable doing that. If that makes sense, Psychology. Feel free to drop it in the chat or the comments. Let me know if that makes sense to you. 6 teams are tough, man. Like they're so volatile, the week to week outcomes of your matchups, because every team is just gonna be an absolute juggernaut. Starts it from Caveman. We got Lamar at QB. We got Bijan. At running back, we've got Javonte, Monty, Judkins, Braylon Allen, Mason. We're gonna go with Monty for sure. And then Marvin BTJ at wide receiver with Travis Hunter and Worthy. And then Tucker Kraft at tight end. So it's basically going to be Hunter or Javonte or Jordan Mason. Let's go with Travis Hunter here. Honestly, Javonte's not a bad start here. I'll shake it up a little bit for this one. This is a 12-team start 7, a little more upside since Javonte's a number 1 in his offense and Monty's a number 2, and you're in a start 7. I'll give you Javonte for this one, and then we'll flex Travis Hunter. Kyle said, yeah, it makes sense. I'm just trying to condense my team with any types of trades, but I could just hold what I have for now. I'm Psychology. Yeah. I think you've got the right thought process for sure. I think packaging some of your assets to up tier and get the premium best players, highest upside possible guys that you can get, definitely cool with you doing that. I think you just want to look at different players to package an up tier from. Hey, John, go ahead and submit a ticket in the domain customer support channel, and we will help you get that figured out, okay? If you go to our Discord, just sync your Discord, and then there, again, and under the domain fantasy football section, there is a domain customer support channel, and then you just submit a ticket through there, and we'll get you taken care of. Someone dropped DeAndre Swift. What % of fab should I bid? Again, if you're in a 12-team start 8, if you're in a normal league, I would drop most of your fab budget for those types of drops. That's pretty crazy. Again, guys, we've still got some time, so if you want to drop your start, sit, or trade questions in the chat here, feel free. Link is pinned in the comments if you want to jump the line. Got a trade question from VZ here. Feeling shaky about my team since Kittle injury. Who should I package with Kittle? Who do I target? Okay. So let me look at your team. Purdy butt. Oh, you have Fannin. So you've got May, Prescott. This is a 1 QB 12 team start 7 PPR. Charbonnet, Travion, and Tracy have neighbors London Pickens, Pittman, Golden, Kittle. I'm not gonna lie, dude. If anything, since you have Fannin, you can just ride with Fannin for the next few weeks while Kittle's on IR. Wait for Kittle to come back, and you'll be fine there. Tight end would be the last of my worries. I would be more worried about running back depth mainly. I would take Golden and like Tracy and probably up tier at running back, like significantly up tier at running back. That's what I would do. So I know that's like a non-answer, but that's my answer. Is I wouldn't be trading Kittle if you got Fannin as your backup. You just stream tight end until Kittle comes back, and you'll be fine. I would focus more on running back than I would focus on trying to offload Kittle for anything at a discount while he's injured. If anything, wait till he comes back or when he's closer to coming back, and you can sell him at a premium then. So Dylan and Ethan, yeah, submit a ticket in the Discord. The domain customer support channel. So that's what it's called, domain customer support, under the domain fantasy football section on the Flock Discord. We will help you get your issues figured out there. Yeah, the Discord link. Let me get that dropped in here for you guys. Hang on. I'm trying to find it. Discord link. Details. I need to find this. Come on. Come on. Here, if you follow the season pass link, it'll show you how you can get connected with our Discord. Shaboom. You can also get exclusive Discord access if you sign up for the annual Mother Flocker tier as well. David said, yeah, that's what we're here for. Nathan yaps about Fannin and Judkins. We're here for the people. David is the man. Helping me out in the chat, man. I appreciate you. Yeah, VZ says, thanks for the answer. I was thinking trading Kittle for an upgrade at running back, ride it out with Fannin. Yeah, I wouldn't use Kittle as the upgrade. I think you have enough depth at wide receiver that you can use your wide receiver depth to upgrade at running back instead of moving Kittle at a discount right now while he's injured. Got a trade question from R4. This is Jaden Higgins for Jennings. Also got offered Loveland. Loveland is going to be droppable probably in the coming weeks. Jennings versus Jaden Higgins is pretty much in the same tier. I'm fine with you taking Jennings here. I don't have an issue with that. I mean, if you have the extra roster spot, sure, you can take the shot on Loveland, see if he takes a step up over the next couple of weeks, but not planning on anything from him in the near future. This is really just a Jaden Higgins for Juwan Jennings swap, which I think is fair. Again, guys, feel free to drop your start-sit questions. Follow this link that I have pinned in the comments, and I'm happy to answer those for you. Got a little bit of time left before we sign off here, but I do have another team review here from Jay Blaze. It says non-PPR IDP league. 2 IDP spots. I have Roquan Smith and Travis Hunter. Bills defense. Kind of insane scoring for this. 4-point passing touchdown, 6-point rushing, receiving, return touchdown, 6.40 plus. So a lot of bonuses. You have a lot of bonuses here. Return yards for those types of guys. Yeah. So 2 IDP spots is the main thing to highlight here. Looks like you're second in the power rankings. So I'm assuming this is a lie. Okay, you said you have Travis Hunter. It says Travis Hunter. It's not reading Travis Hunter right because this is an IDP. So if you have him assigned to there, it's going to be like, oh, he's on waivers, even though he's actually not. So Travis Hunter's on your team, which is great. That honestly, I'm going to grade him as a wide receiver because that's what you're getting in your IDP spot. So I will consider that in your wide receiver grade overall. But at QB with Kyler Murray, I'll give you in a 10 team, probably a 4. Jahmyr Gibbs, Travion Henderson, RJ Harvey, Quinshawn Mason. That's going to be like in a 10 team, probably a 5. And then BTJ, AJ Brown, Marv, Igbuka, Jamo, Addison, and Travis Hunter. Even in a 10 team, that's still going to be easily a 9, maybe a 10. And then David Njoku is going to be like a 3 at tight end. So wide receiver, your clear strength here. When we're talking upside, I mean, you've got crazy upside here. BTJ, Travis Hunter, Gibbs, Henderson, AJ Brown, Marv, Igbuka, Jamo, Addison. You're going wild upside here, which I respect in a 10 team. I love it. So I think your upside score is going to be a 9. When you're talking floor, when you saw AJ Brown's floor, you've seen BTJ's floor, you've seen Travis Hunter's floor, you've seen Henderson's floor, Harvey's floor, Marv's floor in the past, Jamo's floor. So again, pretty low floor, going to be like a 3, I think, when it comes to your floor score. Reliability, I think is solid. I'm going to give you like a 7 there. And then your depth is too good. We're going to make some up tiers here. And I think your depth is going to be like an 8 out of 10. So some moves that I would make for this team. Number 1, actually, waiver priorities. Let's just touch on waiver priorities first. Number 1, take the shot on Chris Godwin off of waivers before he's popular. I'm even though this is a 10-team start 7, I think it's worth just having him even as insurance in case Evans were to go down and then Godwin comes in healthy and it's Godwin and Igbuka. Or maybe Igbuka goes down once Godwin comes back and it's Godwin and Evans again. Just take a shot there and feel free to do that. I would also, since you need some help at running back, would get in early on Scattaboo. Scattaboo would be my number 2 priority for your team. And then number 3 priority for your team would be Michael Pittman, because if Michael Pittman ends up having another really productive week, like 2 straight weeks, then his value is going to go up even in a 10 team. And then at that point, you can package him with a depth piece, and up tier at wide receiver or running back. So those will be your 3 waiver priorities in order: Chris Godwin, Cam Scattaboo, and Michael Pittman. Now looking at some of the moves that we can make here, let's move Jameson Williams. And again, I'm going to give you targets that are more valuable than the assets that I'm having you move off of intentionally. It's because I want you to make these up tiers. Let's go for Tet McMillan or Rome Odunze. Let's take Jordan Addison. Let's up tier from him as well. We can go for Devonta Smith at a discount. or we can go for Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice would actually be a pivot. But Addison, you're not playing for the first couple of weeks. Rashee Rice, you'd have to wait a little bit longer, but that upside that he offers when he comes back is higher than Jordan Addison's on a consistent basis. And then third move that I would make here is Jordan Mason. I've mentioned this earlier on another team, but I would trade Jordan Mason, try to get a guy that's not splitting a backfield. I would go for Tracy, especially if you get Scatterboo off waivers, or DeAndre Swift. Final verdict for this team, again, I'm just making a note in the final verdict area of your whiteboard that, hey, these targets that I have for you are intentionally more valuable than the ones that I have you offloading. Expect to package some depth assets, since this is a 10-team start 7, to get those up tiers done. Nothing matters outside of your starting lineup in a 10-team start 7. Absolutely nothing. I would deprive yourself of depth if I had the highest possible upside known to man in a 10-team start 7. That is your ticket to a championship. And again, with all these bonuses, 40-plus yard passing touchdown, 7.40-plus yard rushing receiving touchdown. I mean, that's a BTJ, A.J. Brown, and Marv dream. Anytime they have any of those 40-plus yard receiving touchdowns, they're just going to absolutely ball. So they are great guys to own. Ethan said tickets submitted, but I need to get this resolved ASAP, Rocky, because I got 2 players playing tomorrow. Okay, Ethan. I will push that for you. What's your Discord username? Oh no, I see you got claimed. I see they're helping you out in there. All right. Sweet. If your ticket hasn't gotten claimed, Ethan, if I'm reading the wrong one, just feel free to tag domain support and they'll get you. They'll get you taken care of. Okay. So overall, again, for this team, I think it's really, really solid, Jay Blaze. I think you did a really good job drafting according to your league settings with all of those bonuses. QB and tight end are serviceable. You're not going to have any crazy advantages there, but your strength is definitely at wide receiver. And I love that you have Travis Hunter in your IDP spot as well. That's a pretty significant advantage. So well done and best of luck to you this season, man. Blaze 20, 10 team live whiteboard. All right, let me refresh here. Got a little bit of time left. Guys, feel free to drop your start sit questions in the link that I have pinned in the comments. Clicking on the screen as well so you can see it. Feel free to follow that link and get your start sits and trade questions in. All right, so Mopar or No Car is going to be next here. This is a ESPN league. I was drafting from the 8 spot, 14-man standard half. Standard half. So I'm assuming that's 0 PPR. Or no, you're saying half PPR? I'm just going to assume this is half PPR. First trade was DK Mason for Puka. Next trade was Kincaid for Kelsey. You traded DK and Jordan Mason for Puka? Holy crap. That was a steal, man. Nice job. Next trade was Kincaid for Kelsey. Waddle for Odunze. Fair deal, Kincaid for Kelsey. And then Waddle for Odunze was an awesome trade. My waiver claim was dropping Bears backup running back for Harold Fannin. Just getting an overlook at my team. If it's current build, I'm 1-0. Heck yeah, you're 1-0. Yeah, that's so annoying. Stream mode doesn't let me open up the images here. Sorry about that, guys. I'll just read this off. But Mahomes at QB, you have Bucky, CMC in your starting running back spots with Scatterboo and Tootin on your bench. You got Rashee Rice just waiting to come back to pair with Odunze, JSN, and Puka. Then you have Travis Kelsey at tight end. And like you said, you picked up Fannin as well. So Calvin Ridley also on your bench at wide receiver. So breaking this down, we have Bucky, CMC, and Scattaboo and Tootin at running back, which is going to be, I think, a solid in a 14 team. That's really good. That's like at least a 7, close to an 8. At wide receiver, you've got Puka, JSN, Odunze, and Rashee Rice and Calvin Ridley. I mean, I gotta give you an 8 or a 9 there as well. And then QB with Mahomes is going to be like a 6. And then tight end with Kelsey and Fannin is going to be I'm struggling with my Kelsey grades right now. With Fannin and a 14 team, I'll give you a 5. So you absolutely did do a great job drafting this team. I'll put you number 1 in the power rankings because like that Puka trade should have been illegal. Like that was an absolute steal. So well done in making that deal. That puts you number 1 in the power rankings for sure. 1-0, deservedly so. Only moves that I would be making here are just maximizing your starting lineup primarily at wide receiver. I mean, you've got Rashee Rice coming in. You have Ridley on your bench. You have Douglas Fannin. You have Tootin, Scattaboo. I mean, my main waiver priority here for sure for this team, I don't know who's available in your league on waivers, but I would definitely recommend getting some running back depth because beyond Bucky and CMC, you don't really have any security at all. In fact, I think one of the moves that I would make is just move Ridley and go get a value equivalent running back. So like if you look at rest of season rankings here, looking at Calvin Ridley in the same range as some of these other backs like Krosky Merritt, Javonte, Travis Etienne, I would try for any of those guys. I would move Ridley for Etienne or Javonte. That'd be a nice, just viable backup option at running back that hopefully you don't have to start. But if you do, you're like, okay, I'll be fine. Second move I would make is probably take Scattaboo and Tootin and up tier. I think there's a lot of hype with Tootin, even though he's effectively just the backup running back that's behind a bell cow and ETN until he goes down with injury, or they want to get Tootin more integrated. And I would just package Scattaboo and Tootin and go get a guy that you know is going to be starting for the foreseeable future as well. And that for me would be probably that would be DeAndre Swift. I would go for DeAndre Swift, or even heck, if you wanted to just take the upside shot and take the shot on Walker and try to buy him low, then you could do that as well. That's something that I would look into. And then third move that I would consider making here for this team. Let's look at Bucky. I don't dislike Bucky. I think his outlook is solid this season. I feel better about Josh Jacobs' situation. See if you can pivot from Bucky to Josh Jacobs or JT. The reason being those two teams, the Colts and the Packers, just run the ball more often. And I mean, you see the Bucs consistently getting a lot of shootouts. And that, again, Bucky has some receiving upside and capability, but there are some games where it's like, he might be a little disappointing. So I think I might go for the bell cows instead for the other bell cows and run first offenses like Green Bay and Indy. So that's something I would look into there. But overall, man, again, with your waiver priority being running back depth, see if you can get anyone at a solid discount. Through waivers, some sort of upside shot. If there's someone that was dropped on waivers that shouldn't have been in your league, then I would go ahead and just capitalize with your waiver dollars. And I think we'll be in good shape there. So feel free to reach out. Let us know if you have any questions. We're always able to be found on Discord for follow-up questions, or if you're on the stream again, you can ask me follow-up questions on the stream as well. But appreciate you, man. All right, guys. Let me clear this here. That was a 14 team. Okay. Got a super message from Psychality. Give Genty or Jacobs plus Igbuka, or JSN for Barkley plus Terry, or BTJ or Drake London. He also has Cooks. So Genty or Jacobs plus Igbuka or JSN. I would do probably... Oh, man. Probably Jacobs and Igbuka for Barkley plus London. I would do Jacobs and Igbuka for Barkley plus London. That's what I would do. Cooks? Who's Cooks? As in like Brandon Cooks? Brandon Cooks doesn't matter. He's irrelevant. Hopefully that helps, Psychality. All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for the night. Really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out for a bit. We will, again, be doing plenty of these streams throughout the week, every week throughout the regular season to help you guys with your start sits, situations, trade questions, etc. as you're trying to build your team to be championship caliber in your fantasy leagues. So we will see you guys again soon. I think Avery will be streaming tomorrow before the game, maybe after the game. Depends, I guess, on if there's another weather delay. But we will see you guys. I will see you guys again on the next time we stream, I think on Saturday. And good luck on Thursday if you have any guys that are playing in the Thursday night game with Washington and Green Bay. It should be a fun game, honestly. That should be a really fun matchup. Good defense with Green Bay, good offense with Washington. So that'll be some fun stuff to watch. So thank you guys, and we will see you again soon.